What I am going to ask you to do is, and I want you to put them into two different categories, man-made and not man-made, and then perhaps we can spot a pattern by looking at the patterns within them.
The following crop circles have been found by Robert and David to contain board marks and are therefore all man-made. The next group are believed to be non-man-made or genuine.
You're not sure about the Galaxy one, are you?
I mean, I am sure about the Galaxy one, right. The Mill Hill formation from 2001. Was it August 2001?
And what are your conclusions on that?
It's absolutely genuine, without any question at all.
So are we saying that you think the more complex ones are more likely to be man-made? Is that what you think?
Generally speaking.
In our experience, the genuine ones have had a more organic sort of quality to the design, whereas the man-made ones seem to be more arithmetical and the kind of thing you would design on a draftsman's table.
Cute lines, and also the fiddly bits. The favourite thing in the last years is to put little nests in, crowns, almost like wedding cake effects, twist the stuff round, do a bit of handwork, and it's done by hand mostly. And people are blown away by that and think, whoa, this is something special. Look at all these intricate designs within the design.
The Mayan Aztec kind of designs, as far as I'm concerned, they're all man-made. Okay. They're all tapping into this 2012 event.
They cunningly design topical themes and things to do with eclipses, astronomy or whatever's going on in the sky, in the heavens, they pick up on and translate to the shape of the formation on the ground, knowing that people will warm to that theme and think themselves very clever to pick up on these links and then go on conference platforms eulogising about the crop circle and talking about these connections, and making a bit of money on the way as well.
When collecting evidence at the scene of a new crop circle, David Cayton often takes radiation readings. He has found that the formations which he believes to be man-made produce nothing more than background radiation. However, on two separate occasions, David has measured effects on his Geiger counter in non-man-made circles. In this case, David's meter reads 18 times higher than the normal background level. David telephoned the National Radiological Board headquarters from the crop circle and spoke to an instrumentation expert. He believes that the effect on the meter was not caused by dangerous particle or ionizing radiation, and the cause was probably electromagnetic in nature, although one cannot conclude where the source of this energy is. In the 1980s, at a time before complex man-made circles were being produced, an independent research group was set up called the CCCS, the Centre for Crop Circle Studies. Originally headed by scientist Professor Archie Roy, its goal was to find out the cause behind the crop circles. At its peak, the CCCS had over 1,000 members, but during the 1990s, membership dwindled due to the disillusionment felt by members who found more and more man-made formations. It eventually ceased carrying out research in 2005 with no firm conclusions. And what about government involvement in crop circles? According to Nick Pope, the Ministry of Defence's first involvement with crop circles was in 1985, when the army investigated a crop circle reported to them by a farmer. A few years later, in the late 1980s, the government organisation ADAS was given some crop circle samples by the CCCS. An analysis was carried out at a government lab in Wolverhampton.
They were passed some samples from the CCCS of soil and stems to analyse. And they got virtually the same results as Dr. Bill Levengood did in America. And they put some reports out on the media.
But once the story got out that government was spending taxpayers' money on such research, questions were asked in Parliament in the summer of 1989.
Sort of challenging the Speaker in the House, why were ADAS wasting time and public money looking at silly crop circles, was the term used. And the two scientists from the Wolverhampton laboratories where they worked were shortly afterwards made redundant, sacked or whatever. And my belief is that was there were sort of scapegoats to stop other government agencies and laboratories getting involved with this seriously.
The following summer, in 1990, a 3-week project, Project Blackbird, was embarked upon by crop circle researchers Colin Andrews and Pat Delgado, BBC Television, Nippon Television and the Ministry of Defence, to try and solve the mystery once and for all.
Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister at the time, and in the early 90s, when these pictograms started to appear, she asked questions apparently in her cabinet, what is going on? And she authorised the army to go into the fields. I think it was a 3-week exercise. This was all before my time, actually. But people like Colin Andrews was involved and Roy Dutton physically. And they set up an operation which was called Operation Blackbird.
Andrews appeared on TV each day as the results from their night vigils transpired. On day 2, a crop circle appeared, and Andrews gave a television interview showing great enthusiasm, only to be made to look foolish sometime later when it was revealed that it was a hoax. Looking back on this project today, it seems likely that Colin Andrews was set up by certain people within the government as a deliberate attempt to show to the public that the phenomenon was not real. Unbeknown to everyone, at the same time, the army were in fact carrying out a separate secret project 19 miles away at Silbury Hill. It seems Project Blackbird had 2 hidden agendas. Firstly, to debunk the world's leading crop circle researchers, and secondly, to divert media and public attention away from the secret Army crop circle surveillance project at Silbury Hill. This event marks the last known government involvement with crop circles, or at least that has been admitted to. After this date, many believe that the issue was taken out of the hands of visible government, and investigation allowed to continue in the hands of British and American intelligence.
The government, the military, know full well that this is a real and important phenomenon, and they weren't wasting their time. They were investigating something extremely important, and they're still doing it today.
Military helicopters and on some occasions AWACS aircraft are sometimes witnessed by crop circle onlookers, seemingly analysing the crop circle areas.
I mean, we've filmed Apache attack helicopters hovering low over the East Field in the Vale of Pewsey.
If a politician was to stand up in Parliament now and say, are we spending any government funds on this phenomena, you think the answer would be emphatically no, then?
They would deny it, I'm sure.
They would deny it, but the helicopters are all over the place.
They're there all the time.
Some have witnessed these military helicopters chasing small glowing balls of light above the crop circles.
Without any doubt, the balls of light are a real phenomenon. Definitely. In fact, by the East Field, we have Golden Ball Hill, which has been called Golden Ball Hill for probably centuries. The reason being, golden balls of light have been seen there for so long. The military and our government have known about the real phenomenon for many, many years. And there's probably a need-to-know basis going on here as well.